Hello and welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Bethany Davidson, the Humane Educator here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. And joining me today as Animal Wrangler is Volunteer Coordinator Sean Snyder. And our first guest is Lulu. She is one of the few puppies that we have available on the adoption floor right now. She is a 9-month-old Doberman mix. She is very excitable when you first meet her, but she quickly calms down and she's just a fantastic dog. We recently had her out at an event. She did okay with meeting with other dogs, even playing with some smaller dogs. She will eventually kind of relax and just lay down at your feet. She's been open to meeting new people, loves to be petted. There are a lot of great qualities about Lulu, but she is still a puppy and needs to learn some basic manners things. She likes to jump up on people when she's excited, which most people are not fond of. Her previous owner does say that she's already house trained. She does seem to be good about keeping her kennel clean. However, we don't make any guarantees about whether our animals are housebroken. Once they've been in a kennel environment for an extended period of time, it's always important for new owners to be retraining the animals, just reinforcing those behaviors as far as house training and not having accidents inside. Lulu can be a little difficult to walk, just in that she can jump and pull, but she's very friendly. She's easy to obtain. She likes to come right to the front and greet people. She doesn't have food aggression issues. She willingly lets go of objects. She seems to know a sit very well. So she has a lot of great things going for her. Her previous owners say that she loves to play. She also knows stay and down, and she answers to come, and she also knows her name really well. So if you're interested in having a sweet dog like Lulu as part of your family, you can stop in and visit her here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. We are open 6 days a week. Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, the kennels are open from 10 to 5. On Wednesday and Thursday, they're open from 12 to 8, and on Saturday, they are open from 10 to 4. Our next guest isn't a puppy, but he has plenty of puppy energy. This is Austin, and he is a 1 to 2-year-old lab mix. He came to us as a stray, so all we know about him is what we're learning since he's been here in the shelter, and he is a relatively new resident. So there's still a lot for us to figure out. He, in his behavior assessment, is very friendly. He reacts favorably to other dogs. He's easy to obtain. He doesn't have issues with food aggression or guarding. He enjoys being petted. You can easily handle his feet and his mouth, and he also knows sit. He responds really well to that command. He is a little difficult to walk, according to our staff, which is something that's pretty easy to fix, especially if you get them set up with a harness. It gives you more control. It doesn't pull so much on them, makes things a lot easier. One thing that you will definitely notice about Austin when you see him is that he does have a little bump on the top of his head. Our staff has recommended no treatment for that at this time. We're just observing that to kind of see if it grows in size. They're saying that it could possibly be a cyst or some sort of connective tissue, scar tissue. So we're not exactly sure what that is at that time, but we are keeping an eye on that. And that's something that you need to be aware of. That's why we want everyone to make sure that they're reading all of these medical and behavioral profiles before they're visiting with our shelter animals, just to make sure that they're prepared to take on everything that comes along with that animal. Sometimes there are special behavioral needs, sometimes there are medical needs. And you have to be certain that you're willing to take on all of those things, because we want the next homes that we're finding for all of the animals in our care to be their forever home. But as you can see, Austin is loving all of the attention that he's getting. He's sitting very nicely. He enjoyed playing with the toys when he first came in. So he has a lot of good things going for him. Somebody obviously took good care of him before he ended up here as a stray. If you're interested in making him part of your family, you can visit him here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. The adoption fee for our adult dogs like Austin is $92.50. That includes spaying and neutering of all of the animals, microchipping, rabies vaccine, county license, distemper bordetella vaccines, dewormer, flea and tick preventative, and a well visit to the vet. So you really can't beat that price. And if you want to come in and check out Austin, please do that. If you're looking for a dog with a really high energy level, then Ziggy might be the right fit for your family. He is 1.5 years old. He is a brindle and white pit bull mix. He came to us because his family just recognized that they didn't have enough time for him. He needs someone who's going to be able to spend a lot of time with him, getting him exercised, getting him long walks, hikes, runs, trips to the dog park, time spent in the backyard playing fetch, doing all those types of things to kind of give him something to do because he has a very high energy level. So if you think that you fit that bill and are ready to take on a very sweet but slightly challenging dog in that regard, then you can visit Ziggy here at Animal Control. His previous owners gave us a lot of information about him, more than most people tend to give us. Things that they let us know. Ziggy hates cats, so if you have a feline in your house, Ziggy is not the pup for you. They recommend for him older children in an adult home. We have not given him any of those restrictions, but it's something to take under consideration because he is so active and he's a little jumpy and he pulls on his leash. If you have small kids, that might be a concern for you, something that you want to think about. It does say that he tends to have some of those puppy behaviors, chewing, jumping, pulling on his leash, those types of things. So he'll need a little bit of training to work on those, but he does know sit, he knows paw. One other really important piece of information that his previous owners gave us is that he hates to have his nails trimmed, and he's kind of nippy when that happens. So they've in the past always taken him to the vet to have his nails trimmed, and they actually said that they had to muzzle him to do that. So that's an important piece of information for any new adopter to have. According to our staff, Ziggy, again, is very friendly. He reacts favorably to other dogs. He's easy to obtain. He's difficult to walk because of that pulling and jumping, but he, like the other dogs before him, has no issues with food aggression. He willingly lets go of objects, and he leans in and enjoys touch. So he has a lot of potential, but he does need someone who can handle his energy level. If you are interested in visiting with him to see if you can handle all that is Ziggy, you can stop in and visit us here at the shelter. We are located at 1832 Rosemont Avenue. If you're looking for a calmer dog, maybe Lily is more your speed. She is a 5-year-old Beagle mix. She is, according to our staff, a very sweet and adventurous girl. They all seem to be having some issues with their treats today. She does have some issues with not necessarily liking other dogs. If you have a dog in your home and you're interested in adopting a second or third dog from us, we would always recommend that you do a dog-to-dog and have your dogs meet with our dog to see if that's going to be something that is going to go well once you get them into your new home. It's not a 100% guarantee, but it does give you an indication as to whether it's something that you could work on or if it's something that's really just not going to work. Lily's very friendly. She seems to, again, bark at the other dogs, not necessarily enjoy their company sometimes. She's easy to obtain. She can pull a little bit when she's walking, so a harness might be a good idea for her. She reluctantly gives up objects. She really leans in and enjoys touch. Again, our staff says she's very sweet. But she does have some things that she needs to work on. She might do best as maybe an only dog. Because she is older, just like many of the older animals in the shelter, she does also have more medical needs than maybe some of the younger animals. So she does have a mammary mass, which we have, our staff has recommended to have that removed when she's spayed. But that's something that you need to think about if you're interested in taking Lily on. Trying to figure out whether that is a benign or malignant mass is something that oftentimes when we can do, we do that, but sometimes we're not able to, and we can provide a section of that for you if you wanted to have that tested on your own if you're interested in making Lily part of your family. Because she is 5 years old, she would qualify for a senior discount. So instead of paying the adoption fee for a normal adult dog, which would be $92.50, Lily would be going home for $72.50. If you're interested in making Lily part of your family, you can come in and visit with her here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center, 1832 Rosemont Avenue. Our last dog guests for you before the break are a pair that came in together. This is Camo, the Merle with the multicolored eyes, and then the other one, the black and tan, is Shadow. They are 3-year-old Chihuahua mixes. They are on our adoption floor together. They are in the same kennel. However, they do not meet the qualifications for us to say that they are bonded, and they could be adopted out separately. Or if you're looking to take home 2 new dogs, they could be adopted together. Because they have not yet been neutered, that is something that we would do before they were able to go to their new homes. Just like we were talking earlier, that neutering, microchipping, rabies vaccination, county license, distemper bordetella vaccines, dewormer, flea and tick preventative, and free well visit to the vet. That's all included in your adoption fee. If you were to take home both of these guys, then you would get a $20 reduction for taking 2. According to their owner, they were brought here not for any fault of their own, but simply because their owner couldn't afford them, couldn't find a place that he could afford where he was able to take them. So he had to make the difficult decision to bring them to us so that we could then find them another home. According to him, they walk well on a leash, they ride well in the car, they do have some kind of, I guess, Chihuahua behaviors in that they're chewers, and they are a bit afraid of new people, which seems to be common with the Chihuahuas that come in to the shelter here. So because they are so kind of frightened of new people, we have listed them to go to a family with older children or adults only. They're a little scared here in the shelter when so many new people are coming up, but they are adjusting quickly, starting to greet people in the kennel more frequently and things like that. So that's just something that you should be aware of when you're thinking about adding them to your home. If you're having a lot of people come over, just making sure that they feel safe and have a safe kind of room where they can go and feel comfortable and not scared of all the things that are going on in your home. If you are interested in visiting with them, stop by and ask about them at the front desk. We do take 2 applications for each of our adult animals, and then we would decide what is the best home for the dog, what's going to be more suitable to their temperaments, medical needs, and things like that. If you are interested, again, stop by. But that's going to wrap it up for this portion of our show. After the break, we're going to introduce you to a few of the cats and 1 kitten who are available for adoption here at Frederick County Animal Control.
Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center is teaming up with more than a dozen shelters this July for the Maryland 2000. The goal of this statewide event is to find new and loving homes for at least 2,000 unwanted cats and kittens. For the entire month of July, Frederick County Animal Control will be reducing the adoption fee for all of our fantastic felines to $15.50. Regular adoption procedures will still apply. For more information about this event, visit frederickcountymd.gov/FCAC.
Welcome back. We are continuing our $15.50 fee for cats this month as part of the Maryland 2000. Collectively, the shelters have kind of reached our halfway point where our goal was 2,000 cats and kittens adopted during the month of July, and we have surpassed 1,000. So hopefully we'll be able to exceed that goal of 2,000 cats and kittens adopted in Maryland this month. What would be awesome is if Gigi, who is our first feline guest today, could be a part of that and find her new home in the remainder of the month. She is 1 year old. She's young, not much more than a kitten herself, and she actually has recently come back from foster care because she had a litter of kittens. You know, we always want to see the mom cats go home. Oftentimes the kittens come back in and they get adopted very quickly, and the moms hang out here for a long time. Sometimes it's even months after their kittens have happily found new and loving homes. So we want to make sure that we're paying special attention to all of the mama cats out on the adoption floor. You will notice that it's kind of hard to find Gigi on the adoption floor because she likes to hang out on the shelf of her cage, and there's kind of lots of dark shadows there, and she kind of blends in. Also, she's really petite, so she doesn't take up much space, but she's very friendly. We've color-coded her as orange, so she's fairly easy to handle. She's, as you can see, she's kind of curious, looking around, but she's not necessarily trying to get away from Sean. She's content to be petted and handled. But orange kind of just means an average cat, which means that they're gonna do what they want when they want to do it. You know, that's a cat for you. You will also notice that she does have a little bit of hair loss. Our vet has kind of diagnosed that as a flea allergy, so we've treated her for that. Because she has that allergy, it's something that you're going to want to make sure that even if she's an indoor only cat, which is what our hope would be, that she's maintaining that flea and tick preventative, because if something were to get into the house, that's going to be a more severe reaction for her. It's going to lead to that hair loss. That should grow back. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take to do that. If you are interested in adding Gigi to your family, again, she and all of the other cats and kittens on the adoption floor this month would be adopted for a fee of $15.50. Our next guest is Dixie, and she is another one of the moms here at the shelter. She has very recently made her way to the adoption floor after being weaned from her kittens, and now she's looking for her home as well. She is 1 to 2 years old, so her petite size is that's how she's going to stay. So if you're looking for one of those kind of eternal kittens, then Dixie might be what you're looking for. She's going to have that cute little kitten face forever. She seems she's color-coded orange as well, but she seems to be a little more uneasy than maybe Gigi was on the lap, kind of trying to get down a little bit more, looking for a kind of a safe place to hide. It's important that you're giving all of the animals that you're taking home time to adjust to their new environment. Just coming from their cage out here is an adjustment, but you really need to give them that time once they're in a completely new environment, which is your house. Your house might be the most comfortable place in the world, but they have never been there before. So especially when they've been in one home and then they're here and then they're in your house, they don't necessarily know what's going on, especially when they've been in foster care. They're bouncing around a little bit. So you need to give them that time to settle in and learn the noises and sound routines of your house, the other animals that you might have. It says on our application and our that we would like you to give them 60 days. That's a good overall time to kind of let them settle in. However, some animals adjust relatively quickly and others take longer. Sometimes it even takes them up to a year to really feel comfortable and confident in their new homes. As owners, we just need to be a little bit patient and understand that it's a new situation for our pets and kind of give them that nurturing and patience that they need. Dixie came to us owned, but we don't really know much about her because we don't have an owner profile. So it's a good resource is always our Facebook page. The volunteers who interact with the animals on a regular basis often leave comments under their profile pictures so that that can give you an idea of how they behave. They usually talk about how one may be more affectionate than the other, one might be a lap cat, one might be more playful. So that's a great source of information when you're trying to decide which of the cats that are available for adoption you want to make part of your family. If you want a bit of a more substantial cat, you weren't a fan of the petite girls that we had on earlier, our next guest is Butterball. He is about twice as large at 11 pounds, 12 ounces, and he is a handsome guy. He's got some very striking markings, and he unfortunately made his way to the shelter because he wasn't getting along with the kids in the house. We're not sure exactly what that interaction was. Maybe it was just because they were young kids. Maybe he would do okay with older kids. We're not exactly sure. However, he is very playful. He's very energetic. They said that he was a lap cat. So he has great things about him, but maybe he's just not a fan of those small kids. Sometimes it's the fact that they're noisy, and that can make the animals upset. They're not used to all of the noise and commotion. They have quick movements, and sometimes it's just simply how they interact with the animal. As the adults in the house, it's always our job to teach our children how to interact with the animals, making sure that they're not touching them in places that we know the animals don't like, that they're not pulling ears and tails and maybe poking. Sometimes it's just hugging too tightly, hovering over them. It could be any number of things. What's really important is to understand cat body language, or dog body language for that matter, and then to instruct your kids on how to read that so that they can stop whatever behavior they're doing before the cat or the dog kind of escalates their behavior to get you to back off. If you are paying attention, especially with cats, to their tail, the more movement there is going on in that tail, the more upset the cat is. If their ears are pinned down, that's also a sign that they're upset. So if your kids see those things, they can back away, and then hopefully the cat won't have to be more assertive and more aggressive in letting you know that they don't like something by scratching or biting. But from my interactions with Butterball, he seems to really love being petted. He's a relatively quiet cat. We've had some people that were interested in him, looking at him. He just let them pet him for an excessively long time. He really loved it. So he has got a lot of great things going for him. You just want to make sure that if you do have children, that you're definitely bringing them in. That's a requirement here, but spending some time, maybe coming in more than once, to make sure that he's going to fit in with your children, your family. Mona is a little bit older than the other cats that we've had on the show today. She is 2 to 3 years old. Another thing that sets her apart is that she is a blue card. The blue card here, when we're doing our assessment, means that they're going to be like the calmest, the most friendly. They are more likely to be lap cats. They really enjoy the company of people. They often like spending time with their person more than they like playing with toys. So that's something that doesn't always pop up very frequently here at the shelter. Recently we have had several blue color-coded cats on the floor, and Mona is one of them. She came to us as a stray, so we really don't know much about her other than our interactions with her, and she's been very easy to handle, very interested in being petted. As you can see, she's perfectly content just to sit right there on Sean's lap. That's kind of the first spot that she landed when she was brought out, and she hasn't moved. She's kind of looking around, taking it all in. Additionally, she is a beautiful cat. She is a gray tabby with white, so she has that great coloring, those great markings, and she's just a very sweet girl who needs another place to call home. Hopefully this will be the last time that she has to look for a home. In addition to doing all of the spaying and neutering, microchipping, and all the other things that we've talked about for each of the cats, when we bring in cats, we also test all of them for feline leukemia and feline AIDS. So Mona has tested negative for those things. We also encourage you to do a retest in 90 days. There are incubation periods associated with those illnesses, so we want to make sure that our test wasn't a false negative. So that's something that we would always go over with you during our interview process. If you are interested in making this very sweet, very affectionate lap cat part of your family, you do want to stop in and visit. Oftentimes the blue cards get adopted relatively quickly because people are always looking for those really calm, sweet lap cats. So if that's what you're looking for and you think Mona is the perfect match for your family, stop in. We are open 6 days a week. That is Monday through Saturday. Our last guest today is Fonzie, and kittens are typically very good at selling themselves. They don't really need any promotional help. But Fonzie is a special. He's a little special in that he is very much afraid of loud noises, new situations. So when you come to see him at the shelter, he often gets looked past because it looks like his cage is empty. He's hiding under his rug where he feels safe and secure. But if you spend a little time with Fonzie, he warms up relatively quickly and kind of becomes a normal, typical kitten. He loves to be petted. He is quick to purr. He'll nuzzle right up against you. Even in his cage, if you spend a few minutes with him, he'll start playing with you. He's a very sweet and affectionate guy. His foster mom spent a lot of time working with him, and he got to the point where he was doing very well in her home, so she thought it was time for him to see if he could find a new forever home. So she brought him back into the shelter, but the shelter is a very scary environment for many of the animals that make their way here. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of other animals, so there's a lot of other smells. So it can be definitely much more scary and upsetting than a nice quiet home environment. He has been around other cats before because he was fostered with some siblings, and he's also been around dogs before because he was fostered in a home with dogs. So he has some experience in that area, but he really just needs a nice quiet home where somebody's going to be able to be patient and provide him with the time that he needs to feel more secure. And give him that opportunity to show his truest version of himself. He is only 3 months old, so he's still really young and has a lot of potential, and he's also just a beautiful, beautiful cat. He is a brown tabby, but he has more of that cinnamon color. He's got some great markings, and he, again, is just very sweet. I spent a little time with him the other day. It doesn't take very long for him to warm up. In the span of 10, 15, 20 minutes, he was trying to sit on my lap, rubbing up against me, very comfortable with me, out walking around, and then he would hear a noise, and then he would kind of want to hide again. So there is a lot of potential there. It's just going to take some time and some patience and understanding. If you think that you can provide that commitment to Fonzie, you can come in and visit with him here at the shelter. Again, we are open 6 days a week. We are open, the kennels are available to see the animals on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday from 10 to 5, on Wednesday and Thursday from 12 to 8, and on Saturdays from 10 to 4. And that's going to wrap it up for this week's edition of Pet Pals. We hope that you'll tune in next week when we introduce you to 10 or more of the awesome animals that are looking for forever homes here at Frederick County Animal Control.